Did you ever feel that anyone in the community, in terms of their backlash, ever threatened your job or made you had a worse day than you did? How would you say the negative responses got to you? And did they ever bother you to a point now in retrospect that you wish they hadn't, or in ways that you felt like they couldn't have actually, came to fruition? Did you ever feel like the way people were speaking to you or about you was going to ultimately get back to higher up at EA, or they were going to look into what was being said or done?
So a couple things there. I think, towards the end when people started threatening my family, it got a little bit, a little bit scary. Um, there was one in particular where he communicated to me that he had my address. He got it off the internet, and that I had better lock my doors tonight. Now I have, a 4 or 5 year old boy at the time, two boys and a wife. Uh, own a gun. And so, this guy had my home address. I don't know where he lives. And then 6 months later, we have the Jacksonville shooting. So I don't think you know, I'm out of line by calling the police and saying, like, look, there's been a threat on my family. And he said he has my home address, which ended with a police report, which unfortunately, when I spoke to EA about it, they, their response was, well, what did you do to incite this? And like they just didn't have any context or perspective on what we went through on a daily basis. And I don't think that they felt, their first reaction was, you must have said something to him to make him act like this. Instead of, no, I just work on Madden. And that was an unfortunate situation. That was probably the worst there was. And I was just really disappointed that when this went down, it wasn't like, people checking in with me and making sure that me and my family were okay, or, offering us counseling or whatever. It was, what are you doing to cause this? It's really disappointing. On the flip side, in terms of like executive response, I think people know. I don't spend a lot of time on Twitter or watch YouTube videos that are flaming me, but they get a sense, right? And they know that anyone who puts himself out there as kind of like the face of the franchise is going to go through some pretty rough things. That's one of the reasons why a lot of the guys who are in high positions now don't interact. And I think after seeing what happened to Ian and then me, two of the guys who were the most transparent with the community and both got, kind of removed from our positions in a sense. Everybody has a right to be afraid, that one tweet or one interview could be their job. And they would probably be right and justified in feeling that way. So I guess it has had an impact at very high levels in terms of them not wanting developers to be as transparent, as interactive with the community. And I think if you were to ask, some fairly high up people at Tiburon at the time, or GM, Cam Weber, they would probably say that I did let it get to me in terms of I ratcheted up how hard I was fighting for fixing legacy issues, for cleaning up bugs, because that was the source of a lot of the attacks and a lot of the frustration. And not being allowed to kind of go after the things that would resolve those things was very difficult for me, because I'm like, they'll get off my neck if we can fix these things. And they're like, well, we're investing in this big back of box feature this year, so we don't have any capacity to fix those things. And it's like a catch-22, because the things that you get beat up over every single day are going to be the same things you get beat up over next year, because nobody wants to invest in fixing them. And it's a tough situation.
Is there any part of you then that after Jacksonville sits back and really reflects on it differently? I mean, listen, to a man, we've all had somebody say or threaten our lives, but we've never actually been in the same context where we've seen someone follow through on it. So having went through that, like you said, with yourself, with your family, and then actually seeing it be acted upon.
Sorrow and grief and a lot of guilt because I wasn't, there. I wasn't like an emotional and spiritual leader for the team and the community, and I wasn't there to help rebind everybody. I am friends with Taylor. Like, we were friends on Twitter, we're friends on Facebook. I follow his wife on Facebook. She follows me. I had my differences with Eli, but he once credited me with giving him advice that helped him turn around his position about being so negative towards the game and other people. And, you know, I felt like people needed like a strong leader to kind of lean on and help them get through there. And a lot of people in the community really stepped up. But yeah, I didn't feel any justification. All I felt was just sorrow. And I really, 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 I even begged them to let me appear on the kind of the retrospective memorial stream they did. They declined, but I wanted to be a part of the healing process more than anything else. Um, but yeah, it was a devastating thing that happened.